This video is for all you investors out there that are trying to sell a house with tenants. So here is selling a house in 5 steps, selling a house with tenants in 5 steps. So step number 1 is you have to evaluate the lease. Hopefully you have a copy of the lease on hand. And so it's really important to determine what type of lease is in effect. And that can help you determine what your legal options are. In most states, tenants have the right to stay in the home until their lease expires, no matter the type of lease. So, excuse me, you may have to consult an attorney to make sure whatever you're planning to do is. So, there's the two most common types of leases are fixed term leases and month-to-month leases. So fixed term leases are just what they sound like. You sign a lease starting January 1st, that lease ends December 31st that year. That's a fixed term lease, 12-month lease. At the end of that time, the tenant is out, okay? Those leases typically are not automatically renewed, so there has to be a step done by you as a landlord and the tenant in order to renew that lease for another year. You may have an early termination clause in there that may allow for the lease to be terminated by either party early, but you've got to look and see what are the terms of that early termination. Usually there's a termination fee or some type of financial consideration involved. Then we have month-to-month leases. A month-to-month lease is also known as a periodic tenancy. It's a rental agreement that renews automatically every month until a notice is given by either the tenant or the landlord. Each will have its own laws in regard to the tenant rights and notice periods, but usually 30 days notice is accepted and sufficient. Again, make sure you're reading what type of lease you have and what your notice period is. Once you determine what type of lease you have, then it's time to understand what your options are. So option number 1, offer to sell the property to the tenant. So some tenants maybe had planned to purchase a home, and if they're comfortable with the home works for them, you decide that you want to sell, it may be good to go ahead and let them know that you're wanting to sell it and give them the first option to potentially purchase it. So you get to sell the house, the tenant gets to stay. After you determine what the real market value of your home is by talking to a realtor, then you can approach the tenant with your offer. And so that could be a viable option that makes everybody happy. The second option is to negotiate cash for keys. So if you don't have an early termination clause in your lease, you could still talk to your tenant about breaking the lease. Cash for keys is often used in this situation where you offer to pay the tenant to vacate early. This maybe helps ease the strain and stress on a tenant because maybe they can take the money that you're giving them to go ahead and put first, last, and security deposit down on a new rental property. But it can cost you money, so that's something to keep in mind. The tenant will need it to be worth their while because it's expensive to find a new place. Like I said, it's first, last, and security deposit. If you're talking about $2,000, that means that tenant has to come up with $6,000 all of a sudden. And so that can be hard for a lot of tenants. So you've got to make the cash for keys offer a good one. Option number 3 is execute the early termination clause. If you have one, then it would be time to go ahead and do that. Just be aware of what the requirements of that clause are. Option number 4, wait until the lease expires. If it's month to month, then you have to probably wait 30 days. If it's an annual lease, so 12 months, you've got to wait until wherever we are in the year, till the end of that lease period expires. That can be an option as well. And then your final option is to sell the home with tenants in place. To be honest with you on this one, you've got to know your tenants really well, because are they keeping the home up? nice? Are they going to accommodate showings? How difficult is it going to be to show your home? If you put the home on the market with tenants and the tenants aren't cooperative, or the home's always a mess when there's showings, it's going to take a really long time to sell your home. And then you're going to create a situation where potential buyers are going to wonder what's wrong with your home. I honestly think selling a home with tenants in place is actually the worst option. Your buyer actually is likely to be another investor. And that investor is probably not going to offer you fair market value. They'll take the home with the tenant in place, but you also are eliminating primary home purchasers probably, because most of them are not going to be able to wait the rest of the year for the tenant to vacate. So after you consider all those options, consider the pros and cons of selling a home with tenants. Pros are the home will already have furniture in place, so it can be more visually appealing. That's, of course, if your tenants are neat and clean and have the house looking nice. Another pro is that you're going to get continued income while the home's on the market. That's never a bad thing. Occupied homes are less likely to be vandalized unless by an unhappy tenant. And then your increased buyer pool, because again, you'll appeal to investors, but you may be able to also get some primary home purchasers, but you will definitely have an investor pool that'll be interested in an already occupied home. The cons: difficult tenants. Some tenants will just not cooperate, either in cleanliness or even showing availability. Limited showings, again, you're showing around that tenant's schedule, so it may mean your home is hard to show. You have no control over the presentation of the home, and honestly, it's probably going to sell for less because it's more likely to sell to an investor than a primary home purchaser. Step number 4 is you've got to work with the tenants and understand you're selling your home. You are selling their home too, right? So it's your home in terms of ownership, but it's the place they've made home for the last year, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is. And so it's disruptive to them. It's disruptive to their lifestyle. It's stressful. It may be financially challenging. So be considerate. Try to work with them, and maybe they'll work with you as well. Communicate clearly, and you've got to set out expectations very clearly. Tell them what to expect next. Tell them what the timeline is you're looking at, what your expectations are, how you'll work with them, etc. Maybe your realtor can help them find a new home. I know we did this on one occasion where we were working with landlords and there were tenants in the home, and we offered to help the tenants find another home. Answer any questions you can along the way, and then make a solid plan. And then finally, market and sell the property. Partner with a local real estate agent. They can handle and have probably dealt with some of the challenges that come with selling a home with a tenant or selling a home that has been rented out, and they can market that investment potential as well. So I hope these tips are helpful. If you are in this situation and you want to talk about your situation, please reach out to me. I'd love to help you. And again, if you are looking to buy or sell in Central Florida, please reach out to me. Remember, you can't mess with Chris. Have a great day, everybody.